Hi everybody and welcome to Beyond Politics. Today we'll be speaking about a scourge that's infiltrated many industries and is affecting our economy greatly.
And it's affecting your and my life. So please listen to the end of this video and understand what we are talking about and why we need radical change in South Africa. Just imagine you're a wealthy businessman from the United Kingdom and you decide to invest in the nightlife industry in Cape Town, and that you invest in this building that used to run as a very effective live venue place. Lots of people, hundreds and thousands of people would go there every single weekend, where you can really make a lot of money. And just imagine that you've ordered all the equipment, the staging, the artists, big artists like Arno Karstens and many others for opening night. And the Thursday, this person rocks up at my business and tells me that yes, to make a change of plans. Because the previous day, when I asked him what happened, people rocked up at his business. This is the Thursday, before opening night, the Friday, and demanded 30,000 Rand per night of his opening Friday, Saturday and Sunday, so that his business can continue operating, or they would shut it down or shut him down. This really happened, and it affected my business, it affected him, because this place did not survive for long. They had a grand opening, but under the facade of this opening, which was a huge success, that man lost 90,000 Rand that weekend, and he had to pay 30,000 Rand up front, which means he couldn't purchase the equipment he needed for opening night. He ended up renting it from me. And this is playing out in the construction industry at the moment in South Africa. And our government, so-called government, cannot deal with it.
No.
Because they are the construction mafia. They allow this. Their friends and family are part and parcel of the problem. And we have an article that we're going to talk about now. And, Lauren has come up with many solutions to deal with things like this. And she's had many discussions with me, telling me what kind of action needs to be taken. And many actions taken in other countries in the world when gangs take over and mafia take over has been frowned upon by many liberals, by many people that believe that you can't strong arm things like that. But when you have people running your country, not the government, okay, that gets all our taxes, you need to change drastically. And in this article it says collapse of one of South Africa's biggest employers, which is the construction industry. And the collapse is massive. And I'm glad that this is being dealt with in the media. This is an article from the Daily Investor. We'll give you a link in the description below this video and in the first comment, so you can go and read it yourself.
I think one thing that the media isn't talking about, but you can piece it together when you read all the different articles and just see the state of the government right now, is that we're not a sovereign or independent nation at all. And that's always been our biggest problem. We have no national identity, we have no national strength. And this is highlighting, the construction and mining industries are probably two of the most important industries in the country next to energy. And when that fails, then we haven't really got any government. So one can deduce through looking at everything that our systems are not working.
Mm-hmm.
Our political system is not working, and the way government is run is not working. So the system that we inherited just is not working for South Africa, and we need to change it. And once we change it, then we can start fixing things. But even when we start fixing things, it's many, many years until things are actually functioning properly, which means we should have started a long time ago. But most people are not really awake to the fact that the problem is much deeper than the general news article or person speaking about it suggests, and there is a solution. There actually is a solution.
And you've come up with a solution.
It's system change.
Yeah.
System change, and it's easy because you can actually piggyback off the electoral system to implement system change. It's easy as pie. That's the easy part. The hard part is actually implementing the solutions once in government, because we have elements that are willing to murder brutally for power and money and influence.
And many of those elements are in government.
Unfortunately,
Yeah.
yes. I mean, and it's not unique to South Africa, that's for sure. It occurs across the world, and it's prevalent here, of course, and we need to change how we do things.
And that is why the parties in our government act like gangs. They actually behave like gangs. It's like gang turf wars. And I've spoken about this at length, calling them gangs, because that's exactly what they are. And until we change the system, they will remain gangs. And part of the solution is to do away with parties and tax funding parties. So taxpayers paying for these parties they don't even support.
Yeah, get rid of government recognition of political parties
100%.
because people can always form movements, people always will. But it's about empowering those that have very ill intent, basically. So yeah, South Africa's construction sector has seen its contribution to the country's economy decline by 33.7% over the past 8 years. Do you even understand that number? It is terrible, because if you look at the unemployment,
And it's accelerating.
it's accelerating.
Yeah.
I know, that's the worst part. So
The
the
unemployment.
population has grown just over 1%, but the economy
1.3% and the economy 6.
0.6%.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not sustainable, the United Nations' favorite word, but the way to fix it is to fix government decisions.
The big thing here is that this decline in construction is accelerating, because in the past 6 years it's 44%, not a third, almost half. That is mind-blowing. Now we need to talk about the fact that because the population growth is more than our economic growth, people are becoming poorer. And you can tell us in the comments if you feel poorer because of what happened. We certainly do. And the problem is that all these people in the population growth need a place to stay. Mm-hmm. We are not building new towns. We are not building new city centers. We are not building new villages. When last have we built something new in this country from scratch, with all the infrastructure that goes with it, the rainwater removal, the sewage, the electrical infrastructure, the water infrastructure, energy, all the things that you need to keep a civil society in a community or a town or whatever. Our government just hasn't spent money on anything like that. Private developments, yes. Very rich ones like Val de Vie, etc., which is almost the size of a town or a village. Those have sprung up. But that is for the elite in society, the multimillionaires. What about the rest? And I always believe, if you don't look after the poor, they will eat you. Literally eat you. And this is why we need to act. And you need to act. And by subscribing to this channel, going to our website beyondpolitics.co.za, you can look at solutions, because Lawrence come up with many solutions that we can implement. And there's many people supporting it. And this idea is growing, that we need system change.
It's great, actually.
Yeah.
It's very exciting, and I just hope more people jump on the bandwagon and get it, because this is, I'm just trying to find, okay, there are the numbers. 0.6% is how much the economy grew. I mean, that is pathetic. Mm-hmm. The economy has been that stagnant for years now in South Africa.
Yeah, decades on average. For a decade on average, the economy is growing only about 0.8%.
And on that note, with the slow economic growth, there have been fake little breaks in that stagnation.
That's
and
important.
one of them are one of those breaks, one of those fake rises or increases, is the two-part retirement funds withdrawal.
The two-part has given a reprieve. Imagine the two-part retirement system didn't pay out billions to thousands of desperate South Africans. The amount of tax the government got just from that is an artificial boost. That's not sustainable. It was a sudden rush. Now what? What is going to happen throughout the rest of this year and up to 2030? What our government is doing now, it's impossible for them to still be there by 2030, by the way. It's not rocket science, it's simple math.
In its current form, but what is going to replace it if the people
100%.
don't participate?
At the moment, it's mafia.
Yeah.
Gangs. That's what happens when you don't have a proper government, or when the people in government are part of the criminal enterprise, is that you get a mafia state. And this is actually what we have right now. We have a mafia state. And we need to change that, because it's not just the people in government. I call it a state. We are part of the state. We allow our children, our friends, our family, people around us to be criminals and say nothing about it. When the law tells us that it needs to be reported. Now, if you don't agree with the law, you can end up being a mafia state with this fake government like we have right now, burdening tax, all the other things, until it collapses, because it cannot sustain itself. It's impossible.
Yeah, this is the saddest part of the whole article for me. You know, we have great unemployment in this country. Many people can't afford to feed themselves or their children, and it's a heartbreaking situation. Young men and women who are leaving school have very little hope for their future. And it says here, these sectors are vital for employment. This is the mining and the construction sectors, obviously, as they are labor intensive and can relatively easily absorb low-skilled workers, and thanks to our education system, make up the majority of the country's unemployed population. So as per usual, the most vulnerable always suffer, and it's not fair, it's not just, and we could be living in a completely different and prosperous society. And I actually wonder if collectively in South Africa, maybe even the world, we have a collective fear of success. Nelson Mandela quoted a quote many years ago suggesting just that. It's not that we're afraid of failure, we're actually afraid of our own success. And this country can be prosperous. People don't need to live in poverty. Yes, there'll obviously be those who are wealthier than others, but through changing the system, you can actually undo a large percentage of human suffering, and that's, I think, important.
I actually read something that was quite inspiring this morning about a young athlete that won the 200-meter sprint at the recent South African Championships for women when she's only 17 years old. And a father has a quote that really inspired me, where he says that hard work, very hard work, will always trump talent if it's not talent combined with hard work. So the country needs to be able to work. People need to be able to work hard. And what makes that possible? Land. People need to have a place where they can work, like we are now, where we live currently. I'm working extremely hard. I can tell you my hands have never been as rough as they are now. People need an opportunity to work. In the town that we live in, there's people that ask for work all the time, which means they are willing to work.
So just quickly, people need their own property.
Yeah.
The market needs to be free market. And the government needs to ensure strong infrastructure and strong borders. It's that simple.
And they're not doing that.
No.
Those basic things. If you do those things, people will invest. Businesses will be created. Places will be constructed. And, Laura and I have flown over the country. We've driven through the country. And you look at the vast spaces where you can start new settlements. In whatever form. People don't have to live on top of each other in cities. And yet, the only thing they promote are smart cities, where people will be cooped on top of each other, where every move will be monitored, tracked, and traced. So once again, I tell people, look at the evidence. The evidence suggests that government has no plans of doing anything to alleviate what is happening. And everything they are doing is just paying lip service to things so that they can keep their salaries for as long as possible. And through their gang system and their mafia system, steal as much of our taxpayers' money. You are being robbed blind by the government right now.
You can look at it a bit deeper than just money. They are sucking your time and energy, your human energy, your years that you're working. Unfortunately,
30% of that, if you, on average.
Yeah, and governments across the world with the smart cities, it's a United Nations plan, it always has been, to implement a smart city system where 70% of the population or more should live in cities, city developments, not rural. And our country's national development plan has pretty much jumped on board with the United Nations Agenda 21 with all their sustainable development goals, and have implemented all those principles and policies in our national agenda. And then at local government level, don't think it's not important. Local government elections are coming up soon. It's not about filling potholes and replacing streetlights.
No.
Those councillors that have all their pictures taken, filling those potholes, they actually are sitting in council meetings.
That's not their job.
They're passing laws, bylaws, and they are approving plans and developments such as the integrated development plans, which all local municipalities have. And all integrated development plans are pretty much mirrored after Agenda 21, just like a national development plan. So you should watch out. You should go visit your municipal website and have a look at what's going on and what's been passed, what has already been passed, and just wake up to what decisions are being made that you are not even aware about.
Decisions. So politicians are lawmakers, people. People get that very wrong.
They are lawmakers. Yeah, your ward councillors are actually passing laws.
Bylaws. They vote on bylaws.
And decide how to develop your municipality, and that's very important. Decisions are being made that are against freedom and not in favor of your best interests, maybe business interests, but not your interests.
Very large businesses. The small businesses suffer, especially in South Africa, but around the world, where large conglomerates and big business is looked after because your taxpayers' money is spent to build roads to their facilities, give them the infrastructure they need, even the loans that they need when you suffer back at the ranch. If you even have a ranch. Most people have nothing.
Yeah.
So think about how this plays out from now till 2030 and where the country is going to be. And this GNU has been painted as the big savior, hasn't it? And now the DA and the ANC has apparently kissed and made up. To your demise, people. To your demise. We need system change. We need it drastically. And we need you to do that during the local government elections and the national elections coming up in 2029, which will probably be a landmark election.
Yes, if not electronic, but that's just how we'll see.
We'll see. But thanks for listening to this video and thanks for subscribing to this channel. Thanks to those people that are members. We will soon be making a video for the members to explain to people what the memberships are about. We need people to support and help this channel to bring our perspective on Beyond Politics.
Remember to look in the link for the description. And yes, just remember that fixing South Africa should be our #1 priority.